This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and MyPillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. All right, so here we have J-Lo and Ben. You remember the old thing we used to do when we were youngsters? Jennifer and Doug, or Victoria and Doug sitting in a tree, K-A-S-S-I-N-G. So how do we do that with J-Lo and Ben sitting in a tree, K-A-S-S-I-N-G? Well,
And
they're
they
not
are.
doing that. Yeah, they kind of are. People magazine story about J-Lo and Ben. It's kind of a cute story, don't you think? Don't you think it's,
Yeah.
I mean, women think this is very romantic.
I know Jen's not a huge fan of Bennifer, but Jay and I have been shipping Bennifer from the beginning, so we're very, very happy that they're together.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I mean, I'm happy that they're together. Like, I think it's great that they're happy. I just didn't like what he turned into the last time he was with her. He just, I don't know. He kind of lost the Boston guy and instead was like, just, I don't know.
L.A. guy.
Somebody without socks on a boat.
So she says it's beautiful the way it feels different than it was a couple of years ago.
It was 20 years ago.
That long, yeah.
Yeah.
When you find somebody you really, really love them, you get a second chance at that. This is a rare, precious, beautiful thing, and we don't take it for granted. So she specifically talks about Ben saying, quote, "I'm so proud of the man he's become. I've watched from afar." So was she pining for him over the 20 years?
Apparently.
I think they loved each
everyone
other,
from-
obviously.
Yeah, but everyone from her inner circle has said that, he was the love of her life. He's the one that got away. She's never really been in love with anybody else other than Ben. And I think that, you can just see it when they look at each other, even when they're just like going out to dinner and
it's
paparazzi
nice.
catches them.
What's wrong with it? It's really wonderful to see that sort of thing.
I
no
love
matter
it.
who
I
is.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
super happy for that. I think
Yeah.
they are adorable together. And who doesn't love a Hollywood ending that, this is like from a movie.
The
20
movie that
years
she's
later.
plugging, the movie that's called "Marry Me" with Owen Wilson. I don't usually like Owen Wilson, but the trailers I've seen for this, I kind of like the way I like the story.
I'm excited for this. It looks really cute.
Yeah, I think it opens up next weekend. So
The
if you're
11th,
looking
yep.
Yeah, "Marry Me" it's called, and this is the trailer anyway. Looks like it's worth your time it's time to go back to the movies. The Murder on the Nile is coming out, so let's get some excitement about the movie, shall we? Breaking the fast, if you will. The DJV program, good way for you to start the day if that's what you do. I'm just looking at something that happened locally, and I happen to know this store. Yesterday, somebody bought $1 million lotto ticket. The guy went in to buy a bottle of orange juice. And he picked up a scratch ticket, and he scratched it, and look at this. And it's sort of the randomness of what the day may be about. You don't know how your day is going to go. You know what's going to happen to you today. So think as you get started how fortunate you are to have the job that you do. Hopefully it's a good one, gives you pleasure, it pays you well enough, and your family, your circumstances, whatever they are, you're driving a car that you like, whatever it is, give thanks for what you have, and you just anticipate the day is going to be great. And even if you're not feeling well, you can turn things around. I was looking yesterday. Victoria and I were going back and forth, Jennifer, on the phone. I'm on the phone about the phone.
Because you know how it thrills me when people call me.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, right. So
I call Victoria, and it's usually about something fun. I'm like,
She starts
I'm
with
so
an
sorry.
apology.
I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm calling because I'm
I
just
didn't
driving and I
apologize.
didn't want to kill myself text messaging.
no,
It is
I don't-
funny.
I
She's
don't
like, I'm so sorry to be
apologize.
calling you. I'm like, it's okay. But I do tend to answer the phone like, what happened? Like if
I know.
Jen's calling me or if Doug calls me,
But you know it's
what's
me
wrong?
now. Like by now, I'm like calling
Yes.
for some usually fun reason.
Right.
Usually.
So the conversation, as objectionable as it seems to have been for Victoria,
No,
was
it's
about.
fine.
We were talking because I asked her advice. She and Bob Kay, who's my all-around everything, the guy who fixes all of my problems, has been with me, and I've been with him for 40, almost 50 years of friendship and working together. Anyway, so we're discussing phones, and Bob rats out on this because he has what do they call the analog phone? He doesn't have an iPhone.
Android. Analog would be
Analog.
very different.
He's got a Campbell's soup can with a really nice soup
Right.
on it.
Right, exactly.
He has Mabel on the other end of his line.
Anyway, so I go into the store, into the Verizon store, and I'm looking at this guy. Looks very unhappy to see me, and so I said, "You having a bad day?" to this guy, and he looks at me and he kind of growls.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, but he comes around and he's really actually quite a good kid. So we look at all the possibilities. Do I want a 12? Do I want a 13? And I'm just telling you this story because there are probably thousands of people listening to me right now who've gone through this very same thing. How do you do
I
it?
can't imagine. Like, I always just go in and go, okay, what's your newest iPhone?
Exactly.
All right, thanks.
That's
Sign
what
me up.
most people do. They just go in and whatever Verizon or Apple throws at them, that's what they take.
Because
so
they
I'm not
punish
like that.
people. Like, I know, but they're going to punish you. Like, at some
right.
point, the phone's not going to work, or
Yeah.
the updates aren't going to come. I mean, they punish people who don't upgrade their phone like little sheep. So might as well just join the herd.
Well, as it turns out, I've discovered I had already, because I have a business plan, and the people on the farm are a part of the plan, and Donald, who is the equivalent of the farm of Bob on the radio, has an SE. And I didn't know when we got the phone in 2016 that it was an SE. But a phone from 2016 that's still in use is an anomaly. The one I have, the iPhone, what is it, a 6? No, it's an 8 that I have, is now worthless. It doesn't work at all, pretty much. I can barely do anything on it. And and I got that in 2018. So this guy says, well, you're eligible for an upgrade here and there, which means all that means is you paid for it. The old phone's gone, so let's buy a new one. Anyway, so I looked at 2 or 3 different kinds of phones, and I don't like the big ones because they don't fit in my pocket and fit in my hand. I want the small screen. Anyway, so I looked at the SE. I said, tell me about this. Why do I want to have it? And he said, well, what do you use it for? And I said, pretty simple stuff. He said, well, you don't need the complication of the 13. I said, everything I've heard about the 13 makes me want to run away from it. And so we decided on the
Meanwhile,
SE.
I say it's the best iPhone of
I know
all
you
time,
said
and
that.
I love
You
it.
spent all afternoon yesterday telling me that it was the best. I'm just trying to give people a primer on how to do this or how not to do it. And maybe if I give you my experiences, because I'm not an expert in this field, and I don't want to be. I just want to use it as a utility. I'm not tethered to my iPhone, and people send me, oh, I called you 20 minutes ago, so I don't have my phone with me. I'm married to the damn thing. And so, under the circumstances, the most utilitarian for my needs, I have an iPhone and I have a flip phone. The flip phone I use to make my calls on. The iPhone I use for data, information, things that I need if I don't have, I'm not in my studio or in my office, or I don't have my iPad out. So anyway, it came around to the SE, and so I said, great, let's get, well, I'll buy, you got one right now? I'll take it with me. Well, he looks in the storeroom. Nope, can't find one. I said, well, can you find one at a store nearby? Okay, looks online. Nope, can't find one anywhere. So then I said, okay, well, maybe he said, but I got one here that the guy hasn't called back for. Maybe you can have that. So I went outside and I called Bob. And I said, can you look around and see if you can find one of these SEs? Again, I'd never heard of it. I didn't remember Donald had one. So he goes to every Best Buy in Massachusetts. No SEs anywhere. And we generally found that there were none to be had. So I'm thinking to myself, either this is a really popular phone or it's a piece of crap and nobody's buying it, so they're not going to make it anymore. Because apparently they stopped making them for a while. Now they're making them again. Because they are popular, they're utilitarian, they have the button on them. Victoria can't imagine, Jennifer, why I want to have a phone that has a button
clinging to
on it.
outdated tech.
Oh,
it's like
my
saying,
God.
I just want my abacus, I don't want the calculator. I mean, it's like,
I would never say that.
Yeah, no.
I don't
Well,
know
I
why
mean, I
he's
get that
so
you want
attached to it.
simplicity. I get you want simplicity, but you also have to realize big companies like Apple, they do want to punish you. So when you don't upgrade as quickly as they want you to, they build in these little poison pills that make things blow up on you, which is why I just always give in, because
Well, I don't like giving in. You know me.
I know.
I'd rather complain. So I was at first going to get a refurbished one.
says the guy who's
And
got
then-
74 vaccines.
Right. I think I want a 15th shot.
Anyway,
You know, I save money on electricity in the house because I just glow at night.
right. I'm all set now. Anyway, I just for purposes of people who are looking to get frustrated with this, I think probably Jennifer's overview of this is the applicable one, not mine. Just take what they give you and then go away. But I'm not. That's not my personality. So Victoria.
Or get a droid. I mean, that's just how I would say. If
I
you
had a droid
want to keep up
before.
with the technology. Then...
Bob got me a droid, and I didn't like it. It wasn't intuitive. At least the iPhone, the iPad, they all kind of, you can figure it out. With the droids, I didn't find it easy to figure it out at all. So anyway, so now I have an SE that I found online at what was the name of the company we found it out, Victoria?
No, you bought a brand new one.
Gazelle, yeah, but I bought it at on some site. You sent me
we
the
should look into getting Doug a jitterbug.
What's that?
What's a jitterbug?
You don't watch, obviously you don't watch a lot of cable news, but it's a phone that's like specifically made for old people. It's like,
thank you. Yeah, there we go.
Look it up. You would actually love it, I think. I think you would like it.
Today we seem
sort of
to
like
be
embracing your senior discount. You don't want to, but you kind of like it once you have it.
Yeah, right. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we're doing football this week a lot more than we usually do. Phil McGeehan, who's at the controls in our studio in Washington, is bemoaning the fact that the Washington football team may now be called the Commanders. So, Phil, what were some of the other names that were put up? I know the Senators came back up with the Washington football team or stuff like that, but why does it look like it's going to the Commander? You're right. It does seem like a wimpy name. I think the septic sewer, what'd you call him, Jennifer? I
call them the swamp creatures.
The swamp creatures. That's a good name.
They'd be perfect.
Actually. Yeah. All right. So, Phil, what are the other?
How about the IRS agents? That strikes fear into people.
Yeah, the Washington IRSers. What's the local lore there as far as the Commanders are concerned, or any of the names?
Oh, apparently Joe Theismann kind of leaked it in an interview the other day, but this is the fourth or fifth time that someone has mentioned a name thinking in an interview saying, or at least implicating that that's what the name is going to be. But I didn't like any of the choices. They had the Red Wolves, the Red Hogs.
That's wimpy.
And then the Commanders just sound awful.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound
Where did the Red Hogs come from?
Because in the 70s, their front line, their offensive line was called the Hogs.
Mm. But the Redskins, I can see why somebody in this day and age would be kind of worked up about that. But what is the Washington football team?
Why don't they go by the Washington all-color skins?
Yeah, right. The inclusive, the Washington inclusivers. Yeah, right.
Neutral. The Washington neutrals.
The Washington neutrals.
How about the woke mob? I like that. That'd be good.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one. Yeah. Free condoms available at the Beijing Olympics for those of you who are going. Organizers,
pretty usual, isn't it?
Nobody's going. Yeah, it is. It's always they always have free condoms.
Where are those? Where are they made?
Probably in China, so they probably don't work. Yeah. Probably leak.
Or they've got like spy equipment in them.
Yeah, right. Be spying on that stuff. Anyway, the athletes are not. There's nobody over there who's happy about what's going on, other than the Chinese.
Anybody's excited. Yeah.
No. So they're giving condoms, but you can't hug anybody according to the rules. You can't even shake anybody's hands, but you can get a condom because obviously that's more important. And it is the tradition of the Olympics. These young athletes, they meet each other and bingo bango. That's it.
So no hugging, no shaking. Just get to business.
Right.
Just go.
And when I saw this, I was like, is this like, I made I made a comment off the air yesterday. Doug didn't know what I meant. And I was like, well, Phil, you can explain it to him. Because I was like, well, are you just supposed to like do it like glory hole style? And then Doug goes, what's a glory hole? I'm like, I'm not explaining that.
I'm glad you don't know, Dougie. That's good news.
Well, anyway, the beds at the Olympics are not made up. They're apparently made of cardboard.
Well, the Tokyo Olympics were made of cardboard.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, ridiculous.
All right, more break.
Care has the power to bring kindness where it's needed. It brings out the best in every one of us. It doesn't just see people. It takes time to understand them. It puts the needs of others ahead of its own. And when you start with care, you end up with a very different kind of bank. Truist. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
Weird things happen as you get into the focus here with social media and people put them together. And what do you have? You have a lot of people in the rumor department saying Adele is not going to do her residency at Caesar's Palace. So one would wonder what was the reason for this. Why
Like
did
at
she
all?
Yeah, Gonzo.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then maybe the rumors are true. So remember, there was a whole thing, and I'm not sure if we talked about it here or if we talked about it, on or off the air, but there was a rumor going around about Adele that she actually didn't like the way the show looked,
Yep.
and that it was not COVID, instead, that it was like a swimming pool thing, and that it was supposed to elevate her at the end, and that she didn't like the way it looked. So maybe she went all diva and just like decided not to do it at all.
This started on Dumois, because I love Dumois. That's my
Yeah.
favorite Instagram gossip site. And there were people writing in anonymously saying, it's not COVID, she's being really difficult, and she's changing everything like constantly. So the set designer, and it's a woman she's worked with before, but apparently they just couldn't, I don't know, they just couldn't get it right. She said the pool that was supposed to float above the stage, I guess she called it a baggy old pond. It didn't look right. And then she wanted to bring in a 60-person choir just to sing on Skyfall. And I guess that wasn't working. And then she didn't like that the band was too far back on the stage. There's a lot of stuff. And so now essentially they just they're tearing everything down that they've built. And so they said that there might be a chance that she could be moved over to the Park MGM or Resorts World, but I don't think Caesars is going to deal with it anymore. They've already booked Keith Urban in for a bunch of those dates. So
They're like,
Yeah.
okay, bye-bye.
yeah,
So,
Keith Urban's like, well, all right, so my fans get to
I'll
benefit.
take the cash. Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. So under the
I
circumstances,
mean, this is $100 million, $150
That's what I
million
was
they
gonna
put
say.
into this.
Yeah.
These stage shows, I mean, I've seen Britney and I have seen Backstreet Boys, and these residency shows are no joke. I mean, they are really cool to
Real
see. Whether
big.
I would encourage, even if you don't like, even if you don't think the artist is someone that you like, if you have an opportunity to go to one of these shows, they do a really good job because they really have like costumes and lighting and effects and all that stuff, and it's neat. So they're a big deal, and I don't know if you just walk away from one if you're Adele. That they've got to put millions of dollars into the show to make it
So
go.
who pays for that up front? She's
Right.
not paying for it. It's
Caesars.
got to be the Caesars.
Yeah,
people.
Caesar's Palace put up $150 million. That's what they allotted for this because
Lawsuit.
that's how profitable they thought it would be to have her there, which
Well, it
they were
would be.
probably right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
apparently the only dates open now would be this fall. It could be like October, November. So fans
So
are
what
still hanging
happens-
on to tickets, and they
Yeah, I
don't
was
know
going to
what's
say,
gonna
what happens
happen.
to the tickets?
You can
People
hang
who have
on to
tickets
them
for this.
Yeah, just hang on to them because
And
no one knows
as
what's
a
gonna
fan,
happen yet.
what I would appreciate more from Adele is saying, you know what, I like to deliver perfection for my fans when they spend their hard-earned money to
Yeah.
come to my shows, and so we want to get this right, and we're struggling to get this right, and we will, and we'll keep you posted on a reschedule instead of crying about COVID.
All right, so
That makes
has
you
she
look
gone
so
Hollywood?
crazy.
She seemed to be the average girl next door, but all the attention from Oprah and the big show and a whole night on CBS, could it be going to her head? One would wonder. I hope that's
I
not
think
the
that
case,
she has a
but-
lot of stage anxiety still, and I think that that's
She
kind of
does,
playing out
Yeah,
a
right.
bit. So, but
Yeah,
she's going to
yeah.
be on the Brit Awards in London next week, and she'll be on
Mm-hmm.
Graham Norton too.
All right, hold a good thought for Adele.
I'm Greg. I'm 68 years old. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, majored in business administration. I do motivational speaking in addition to substitute teaching. Part of the reason for my motivational speaking is I kind of feel like I have a calling or giving back to the younger generation. You know, the golden rule is do unto others, you'd have them do unto you. My wife, Wanda, is a senior flight attendant. She's been flying for over 30 years. We do laugh quite a bit. I think most adults will start realizing that they don't recall things as quickly as they used to, or they don't remember things as vividly as they once did. I've been taking Prevagen for about 3 years now. People say to me periodically, man, you got a memory like an elephant. It's really, really helped me tremendously.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Greg Fraley is a paid testimonialist and real Prevagen user, based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who were cognitively normal or mildly impaired. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Time for us to get into some of the trending gossip on social media, and certainly, Victoria, the Hoda Kobe thing
Kotb.
is on. Is that how you pronounce
Yes,
it?
Hoda Kotb.
Okay. Well, that too. Everybody, we all know her as Hoda. You don't have to
Right.
say Kotb, right? So everybody,
Right.
you say Hoda, everybody knows who you're talking about.
Yeah.
So she'd been romantically involved and engaged to this guy Joel Schiffman for 8 years, and so now she says, "I don't think I want to do this."
Yeah, she said
Okay.
they're better as friends, and she said nothing like dramatic happened. There wasn't really a reason. It just, she said for them that she just felt like, marriage wasn't going to work because she felt like they were just better as friends. And I think she's smart. Like a lot of people feel
Me
like
too.
they go into marriage thinking that it's going to make it better, but the best you'll ever be. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like the best you'll ever be as a couple is when you're dating. And so everything changes and can only go downhill from there. If you get married and everything stays that way, then that's great. But a lot of people who have troubled relationships think that marriage will change it for the better, and it really only highlights the stuff that's not working.
I think I say this very lovingly. You and your husband have one of the best relationships I've seen.
Aw,
And
thanks.
No, I'm serious. I think that
I feel very lucky. Yeah, we're a really good match. We really genuinely like each other. We're each other's biggest fans, and that's important.
It sure is. Yep, absolutely. Simon Cowell is at it again.
Oh man,
This guy.
someone's gonna take these bikes away from Simon.
Yeah. All right. So he was tooling around in London. He turned a sharp corner and apparently crashed his bike. Is in the hospital. The road was wet, and so he broke his arm, bruised his cheek, may have had a concussion.
Wasn't wearing a helmet.
No. Right. So
Yeah.
he's done this a couple of times before.
Well, he's on these electric bikes, which they're so popular. I live at the
Zipping
Jersey
around
Shore,
London.
and
The traffic
everybody
in London is so bad. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and everybody's using these electric bikes, but they go really fast, like really quickly. There's a lot of power in
Well, it's
them.
like the scooters that you see all over Los Angeles. People are driving those kids who
Yeah.
have no business. 12-year-old kids have no understanding what the right of the road, that sort of thing. They just jump out and down. Driving down Beverly on Sunday morning on my way over to Brendan's house, and this kid comes out of the street that Brendan lives on, and I'm talking about right in front of me. And I was only doing like 20, 25, so I could stop. But if I'd had Daisy in the car with me, she would have gone on the floor. As it was, all the things that I had on the front seat went on the floor. It's dangerous. These things are dangerous. Okay. Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, and by the way, he almost couldn't walk after the last crash, so you would think he would have
Really?
learned his lesson. He broke his back in 3 places and said that the doctor said he was lucky he could ever walk again. So, yeah.
Oh, well. Kim Kardashian is the new face of, how do you pronounce it, Balenciaga?
Balenciaga. Yep.
Yeah. That's a clothing line?
Yes. Yep.
Who wears those clothes other than women
Very,
with big
very,
hips? Like
very
these guys?
wealthy people. It's
Really?
expensive. Yes, it's a
So what
very
is it?
high-end fashion line.
Uh-huh. What does it cost to buy a dress or something? That's
Oh, thousands. Yeah.
thousands of dollars for a dress.
Yep. Wow. Purses, bags, shoes, all that.
Right.
Big into accessories. Yep.
Okay. Have you got any? No.
No, I do not own any Balenciaga.
This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and My Pillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. Somebody asked me the other day how he could lose his belly fat.
Calitrin targets all over body fat. Of course, belly fat tends to be where everybody carries it, but Calitrin just really gives your body back what it needs. So it revs up your metabolism naturally, and you burn off those fats and sugars the way that your body wants to. So you do lose the belly fat along with just all over toning too.
So does Calitrin work best with a diet, with an exercise program?
Well, we have people that have had success with it both ways. Obviously, if you're eating better, eating in moderation, staying away from the sugars and the sodas, you're going to see results faster than if you're just taking it by itself. But our 90-day program, that huge 86% success rate that we have, that's just with taking Calitrin alone. So check it out on our website, toploss.com. All the information is at toploss.com. That's TOPLOSS.com, or call us 1-833-TOP-LOSS.
And use the DJV code for all these specials when you check out.